Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2. At the end of the last video, we got ourselves off the surface of Duna and back into orbit. So yesterday, well, I guess not yesterday, but the previous video was a very eventful video. Yes. Unfortunately, we don't have enough fuel to reasonably get back to Kerbin where we are. We're just a little bit short. I was not very efficient with how I did things. Unfortunately, that's just how it went. In the future, I'm hoping to incorporate Ike into our travel itinerary here to get a small little push, a little gravity assist around Ike, because it's got a decent gravity well to it. And I'm hoping it gives us just that little extra nudge that we need to get back into the atmosphere of Kerbin, because at the moment, we can just barely reach the line. We just can't quite get an encounter. And of course, an encounter is not good enough. We're going to need atmosphere so that we can aero brake and hopefully come back in one piece, because we don't have a lot of fuel. Worst case scenario, we just leave these guys here and we go rescue them later, when we're more capable. But right now, our position with Kerbin is not very good for that. So we're going to have to wait for these positions to be lined up. Speaking of positions, Eve is right here and Kerbin is right here. And these guys are lined up very well for us to send something to Eve. Yeah? I would very much like to send Kerbals to Eve. However, I've got a little bit of a thing I'd like to do with this. So here's Eve. It's a beautiful fuchsia. It's lovely. I'd like to do something with Eve, and that is I'd like to get a station set up around Eve with fuel and transmitting science and all these types of things. Because we can go to Eve, but at the moment we don't possess the technological capability to land on Eve and get back. That last part is really difficult with Eve. Lifting off, getting back into orbit once you land is like, that's the difficult part, okay? And I don't think we're capable of doing that right now. So sending Kerbals here is cool, but they're only going to stay in orbit, right? They're not going to go on the surface. If I want to get surface with Eve, I'm going to have to send a probe, which is what I plan on doing. I plan on sending a probe. Let's go to mission control real quick. Looking inward is here. And we want to enter Eve's sphere of influence. We don't need to land. That's it. All we need to do is enter the sphere of influence and we succeed. That's 3,000 science. I have a feeling, though, that landing on Eve and doing things with Eve is going to be a follow-up to this, right? So we're going to want to do that. I'd like to send a single craft. This is what I'd like to do. Send a single craft that has Kerbals on board and also possesses a probe, which can be remotely controlled and land on Eve. And that way we could get all the science we need from the atmosphere and in a biome landed on Eve and not have to worry about bringing it back because it's just a probe. That's what I'd like to do. But I want to send Kerbals there too. And we're not the best equipped yet. Let me explain. Research and development. We currently have 3488 science, so that's a lot. The 3488 science, we can get modular launchers, which is huge. I like the vector engine. That's great. It's going to work out really well for us. We also get the Clydesdales. Gets ourselves the Clydesdales, which are ridiculous boosters, and that will help us as well. If we get this, we unlock tier 3. We can then get into heavy rocketry. That's going to get us access to the Rhino and then later the Mammoth, which is great. But what I want to do before we go to Eve, and the reason why I say it's a station and I want to do all that stuff, I want to get radiation science and orbital science first before we do that. Now, obviously, we don't have enough science to actually go ahead and get those two things right now. But we can get into tier 3. So I'm going to go ahead and get modular launchers. Tier 3 is unlocked. And I can go get heavy rocketry as well to get us on our way. So that's the Rhino. Now, we have 988 science left, and that's not enough to get anything. But if I go deep space probes, then radiation science, then orbital science, not only will I have another experiment, but I'll also have the Star Lab. The Star Lab, this is what we need to run science, an experiment, flying low or high orbit. It doesn't matter. We can move it around, but this is the Star Lab. I want to send this to Eve. So in order to do that, we need to make a whole lot of science, right? I'm going to need like, what is this? Like 30, that's 3,200 plus another. So like over 6,000 science is what I'm going to need. Okay. Now, conveniently enough, better signal with JOOL, right? That's going to get us 5,000 science. And if we can send an atmospheric survey with that, which is, I think is the lens test. Yeah. If we can send the atmospheric survey, that's another 3,000. That's 8,000 science right there. I do this, then I unlock what I need, and I can go in looking inward, right? All these things. So many things. It's going to be great. Let's track this mission. Let's track this mission, and we'll make sure we're also tracking the primary mission. And yes, you can just middle mouse button click these, and that's fine. We'll look for sending a crew to Ike and stuff later when we're lined up again, and I'm still not concerned with the little chonker. In fact, I kind of wish I could just hide certain things, but is what it is. Okay, so what are we doing today, Charlie? Seriously. All right. We're going to do our JOOL thing today, right? I'm not going to send, even though we're lined up, I'm not going to send anything this time. Because when I send it, I want to send both the Kerbals, the station, and the probe. I want to send all that in one big launch, okay? So we're going to go over here. Let's focus on our JOOL SAT 1-11. You might remember our glorious JOOL SAT craft. And it's on its way to JOOL, of course. And if we take a look at the orbit, please don't be changed. It looks pretty good. Yep. It's still there. Now, the periapsis is at 198. And that is barely in the atmosphere. JOOL's atmosphere in Kerbal Space Program 2 begins at 200 kilometers. So this is barely in there. And it's not enough to where it's going to be able to effectively aerobrake us into a capture. So we're going to have to burn our engines a little bit here. We possess far more fuel than necessary to get ourselves captured by JOOL, even without the atmosphere's help. So I'm okay here, okay? But if I can use the atmosphere more, it does two things. I get to save the fuel, which gives me a better ability to properly position this a little bit better. But it also is going to let me be in the atmosphere longer, and that gives me a better chance at being able to run the atmospheric survey. So I want to be able to do that, especially if I'm going to burn up and explode. I'd like to get the survey done and transmit it successfully before doing so. That would be great. Okay, so what we're going to do with this, and even though everything is lined up, that's fine. We're going to go and just zoom time ahead really quick here. Go down to about here. And of course, we could also look to stop when JOOL is in proper alignment with Kerbin like that right there. But I think we can one thing at a time, right? It's okay. We don't have any survival stuff, right? That complicates things a lot. I have been considering adding some mods. I think one mod that would be really cool to add. Wow, that's not going nearly as fast as I thought it would. One mod that I think would be really cool to add would be the alarm clock, because that exists, and being able to automatically stop time acceleration and stuff if we're going to be doing anything with the alarm clock, I think is a really good thing, because it will stop us and be like, hey, you got to do this other thing over there somewhere. At the moment, we're pretty much just focusing on one thing at a time, so it's no big deal. So look at what the effects of JOOL's gravity is going to do to us, right? JOOL is going to accelerate us big time. It's going to kick us way out here, right? That's the kind of thing we want Ike to do later on. Kick us out so that I don't have to hardly use any fuel at all and hopefully get home, right? All right, so what we want from this probe is I'm going to go in, I think maybe to here. It's probably fine. Let's get a little bit closer here. JOOL's sphere of influence is crazy big. It took us a week just to get here from the outside, right? It's crazy. And we're still very far away. Very far away. So what I want to do, let's make a maneuver here. Let's focus on JOOL. And what I'm hoping to do here is bring in this this periapsis a little bit. All right, I think 198 is just not enough. So which direction do I have to go to make that happen? If I go, let's see, if I go this way, you're not gonna, oh, I don't have vessel control. Oh no, I don't have vessel control. Maybe it's a good thing we're not going all the way in there. Why don't I have vessel control? My dish is going to be able to reach this. My dish can totally reach that. Oh dear, this is a bad idea. This is a bad thing. Let's accelerate time a little bit here. Maybe we can get vessel control. I still have none. So I can, oh my goodness, this is no good, man. Hold on, why don't I have vessel control? Let's speed up time. We'll get closer to JOOL here. Still no vessel control. Wild. Wild, I say. I might be screwed here. I might be very screwed. Okay, I have vessel control now. Yep, I do. Weird. Okay, it's just like maybe it has to do with like positions of the satellite, the geostationary one. I don't know. Maybe if the geostationary, the geostationary satellite is blocked by Kerbin, then we don't have control. Maybe that's something. I don't know. What I just want to figure out is whether or not maneuver like this will change anything for me. Yeah, so like it's gonna bring us in. So that's the direction I want to go. Yeah. All right, that's all I wanted to know. So let's face this way, and we're gonna take our thrust down to like 1%. Okay, because I have a feeling this is gonna have a huge impact. And again, what I want to do is focus on JOOL, and then I'm just going to take a very small burn. Yeah, like this. All right, so we're lowering ourselves. I think I want to go to like maybe 194. I think 194.5 is fine. So we're going to do that instead. I'm going to tell it to face retrograde. And let's increase our thrust again here. And at 194, I think we're going to be in good shape. Let's go ahead and time warp to here. Yes, I know. And how about right here? Let's see where we are. Where's JOOL? There it is. Oh, it's so wonderful, isn't it? I love seeing like their moons and stuff, and have it cross in front of us. This one's going to be going behind us, but still. Right, that's Lathe. Lathe is the only moon that I believe it's the only moon in the entire game actually that has an atmosphere. I could be wrong on that. I've never been to Lathe, so I don't know. But I think it is. Okay. Hopefully we maintain control here. That would be really nice to be able to maintain control. We have tons of electric charge, so just in case we lose control, I'm going to tuck in my solar panels, and we don't need this out either, so we can just go ahead and... That was always just a role play antenna anyway. Okay, shall we? Let's take ourselves down. Probably want to hit quick save. Just a case of Kraken. I haven't had it much for Kraken in this playthrough yet, so I don't know. All right, this thing is so big. Like, this is still over 500,000 meters above the surface. Like, that's how big JOOL is. It's insane. I love it. Obviously, it's like the Jupiter proxy, right? Analog, I think is what the real word for that is, but... All right. Getting down here. And now we have our thing now is showing surface. We're not in atmosphere yet, though. So we want to get our research inventory out. And I want to also get our part here. And this is considered low orbit. And when we enter at 200 kilometers, we should be able to run this. So here we go. 200 kilometers is going to hit. There it is. We can run the atmospheric survey. And we'll see whether or not this works. This is Northern Tropic. We need 2 minutes. This needs to run for 2 minutes. And if it can run for 2 minutes and we can get out of this safely. As soon as it's done, I'm going to transmit, right? Because I don't know if we're going to burn up. I don't think we're going in enough to burn up, but I don't know that. So 194 is where we're at. We're about to hit our periapsis. Our lowest point here is going to hit in about 2 seconds. And I'm not seeing any heat effects, so that's a great sign. And our apoapsis is getting affected. We are seeing that lower, but it's not fast enough. So we are going to have to burn our engines. I already knew that though. Oh, there's some heat effects. Okay. But we are rising now. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're rising. So this is gonna work out. I think we're gonna be fine. This is currently paused because apparently atmosphere JOOL equator is where we are now. And I guess we can't do the survey there. It won't let me resume survey, so I guess the survey has to be, I see. So we have 1 minute, 26 seconds left to run that. All right, we want to burn retrograde if we can here. And if we can burn retrograde enough to get captured, and we'll call it a day. Right there. Just burn right there. Just a little bit extra, just in case it's lying. Okay, right there. So that's it. We have 326 meters per second remaining. And we are now out of JOOL again. So we can go ahead just to make sure, and we can extend our solar panels one more time. Now, if we want to come back over to here, this is going to be, I guess 1 year. Am I reading that correctly? I didn't think it would take a year to get there, but it does. It does. It takes a year. 1 year, 17 days to get back. We're going to be there a while, but I think I want that science to go to Eve. So I think it's a good thing to do. So I'm going to go ahead and time warp to this point. And yes, that means our brave Kerbals around Duna are in space over Duna for multiple years. That's exactly what that means. They love it there, though, you know? They just love the red planet. All right, here we go. Now, we went in kind of deep before, right? We were getting some heating effects before. So I got to wonder whether or not we're going to be okay here. Last time, though, we were going very fast, like 8,700 meters per second. I think this time we're going to be slow enough that that won't matter as much. I'm hoping anyway. Well, our speed is definitely climbing, so I guess we were going faster than that before, because there's no way we're going faster now than we were before. We're definitely going slower now, so. So, kind of feel like I want to raise that periapsis up a little bit, but this will have a huge impact on our orbit, so maybe it's worth going in one more time at this level. I think we're going to take the risk. We're going to risk it, and we're going to get down there at about 194 again. All right through about here. This is pretty good. Make sure we can maintain control. Just going to pull in our solar panels here. I'm glad we're keeping control here. And the experiment should just continue, I believe. Although it has been a year since we did it, so maybe it won't do it. I guess we'll find out. So I thought maybe it would just continue where it left off. All right, there we go. Run the survey. Yep, 126 remaining. And we're in the JOOL Northern Tropic once more. That's what we're looking for here. We're looking for this much science. And as soon as we can get this experiment done, I don't really care about the probe. It'd be nice to keep it. And that's what I'm kind of going for here by going at 194. I'm looking to keep it. Take a look at our apoapsis now. It's being pulled in real fast, which is good because it's way, 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 way out there. So we definitely want that pulled in. Maybe we could even get in the future. There's no science to run on this. That's the thing. Like we don't have like all these like little tiny gadgets and stuff like temperature readings and all that stuff that Kerbal Space Program 1 has. We don't have that kind of stuff on the probe. And the probe doesn't seem to have any experiments of its own either. So the only science we can really run is the science that's coming from the little sniffer here. Apparently this isn't good enough. Man, that's a real shame. So we're gonna have to go in again in order to get this. because we didn't finish the experiment. Apparently the northern tropics is a very specific spot that we just keep hitting. So let's get our solar panels out again, and then it's way over here now. So again, going around again with JOOL is going to mean another 176 days, at least not a year this time. So another 176 days have passed. Oh, I think we just lost control. Let's hope not. If we did, we're going to have to get it back. We are still pointing retrograde, so let's see. Did I lose it? Can I? Okay, no, I didn't lose control. We're good. Okay, so one more time. Hopefully no overheating. I mean, we've been fine the first two times, so I wouldn't think we would have a problem this time, but I don't know that. Here we go. And let's go ahead and bring our solar panels in one more time. And we'll run our science experiment right here again. Let's get down there into the atmosphere once more. Just making sure it's gonna fully point retrograde here. Okay, run the survey again. 50 seconds remaining. Wow. We are just not getting a whole lot done there, are we? 38. Come on, get that whole thing done before you leave. Come on. The problem is it hits the equator so fast, so we're not running it the entire time we're in. That's the issue. But I guess as long as we can get little bits of progress every single time, I guess that's okay, right? As long as we can get just a little bit of progress every time. Let's extend our solar panels again. And we're looking for... Yeah, I mean, this is obviously we're getting pulled in and it's going to be great. We're going to have a great orbit here. Possibly even be able to tweak it and get, again, like one of these other places would be good. Maybe even do an atmospheric thing with Lathe. Could be interesting in the future. If I get out to about this far with my orbit, I could... then circularize it outside of like 200. I can burn here and get to 200 so that I don't go any deeper. And then I could just wait it and then possibly get an encounter with Lathe at some point in the future and run atmospheric surveys on Lathe with this probe. I think that would be great to be able to do in the future. So one more time here. It's going to be 99 days. The Duna crew has been casually orbiting Duna for like more than 2.5 years at this point. Kerbal's just spending 5 years in space. Let's go even more right into here. All right. So same thing as last time. Just gonna keep doing this over and over again. Bring ourselves down to the surface, or down to the atmosphere at least. Here's our experiment one more time. I think I have less than 30 seconds left on this thing. I don't want to go too far, especially at this orientation. Although once it hits the atmosphere, it goes to physics time warp. So it would reorient itself anyway if we did that. But that's okay. I want to make sure I'm hitting the atmosphere pointed correctly. All right. Try it again. Run it again. 15 seconds is all that's left. Come on. There we go. We got it this time. Absolutely. Right here. Done. So as long as we can survive this, and I feel like we will, right? And this is great because, again, our apoapsis is getting pulled right in here, even closer. I can run several more passes here if I need to get our apoapsis to be up here. Be completely fine. Just as long as we don't lose this dish right now. And it looks like we're going to be fine there. So the heat doesn't fully build up on this part enough for us to have to worry about it. And that's fantastic news. All right, we are in space once more. And this time, we're going to be able to transmit this science right here. 5,000 science. Holy crap. Holy moly. And that's if we recover it. While there's no visual evidence, we detected strong electrical discharges deeper in the atmosphere. Be advised, your ship is an excellent lightning rod. You assess the local atmosphere. This is worth 2160. So we can transmit that. We have more than enough electric charge to do that. But if we take the samples back, if we get Kerbals here, rendezvous with this thing, and take the samples back to Kerbin, that is a lot of extra science, more than double the science. Now I gotta wonder, like, I'm definitely going to Lathe now, right? I mean, we have to do that. That's a lot. All right, well, time accelerate until we have that. Now that's gonna complete the objective, which gives us another 3,000 science too. So we don't really want to leave this thing. I don't want to leave it here, right? If we start like trying to maneuver around, we're gonna end up with this thing like deorbiting and dying. So I don't want to leave it as the inactive vessel if it's still going in atmosphere. But we can go to mission control now. Better signal is completed. Another successful mission, director. You're getting quicker. That or my sense of time and space is off. I blame the decaf. I'm all about tea now. The longer you steep it, the stronger it gets. Wonder how strong you can make it. I must ask the department heads. Your satellite has already yielded results. We have another signal though. This time it's coming from one of JOOL's moons, Tylo. Oh my goodness. There's a good chance the signal might be the last. After all, we are so far out into Kerbal system. Where else could we go? Wink, wink. We're really going to have to put our heads together on all we've learned from the previous monuments. I feel like there's something that they want us to know or do, but what? The decoded message might help. It says, honor for Gorja, the oldest one, the dreaming tree that bears the fruit of the world, whose unwaking eyes watch over the tetrad, and whose roots are watered with knowledge. So, tetrad. That's 4, right? Like the 4 stalks on the tree guy, Gorja? One stalk held one of those squiddy non-Kerbals. Another had a Kerbal, and the other figures were broken. Was Tree Guy dreaming of Kerbin or something else? Why is Kerbin at the heart of all these clues? This is so exciting. Who knows? Maybe what you find on Tylo will be the key. Good work out there, director. You've made us all incredibly proud. So that's 5,000 science. That's crazy. And then this one here, of course, we got the atmospheric thing. So we're going to get those 3,000 too. Atmospheric survey, it looks great. And JOOL Kerman's smudgeless lenses are still crystal clear. Right. This is a sponsored thing for Joel Kerman's smudgeless lenses. Right. Okay, so it sounds like an ad, but I never really appreciated the clarity of those lenses. I asked Joel if he'd consider branching out into eyeglasses. He said he already tried, but he found the market for glasses with 10 kilograms spherically ground lenses was too small. I don't know. I'm apparently too sick or tired to understand that one right now. Yeah, obtain a sample report of the strange creature on Lathe. There's a creature on Lathe. Bring back samples carefully. Oh my goodness. That's cool. I was really hoping they would put like life in the game. You know, like give me other animals and stuff. It's an exploration game, but there's like no other life anywhere. Yeah, get it on Lathe right there. That's good. And as we go to other systems and stuff, I realize like Kerbin it's like our own planet. It's like our own system, right? There's no life in any other place around our own system either. At least as far as we know. But evidence of life former, that could be pretty cool. Or if we're going off to other systems, that's also pretty cool, right? Plant a flag on pole. Okay, so it's wanting me to go all these different moons now, which is pretty cool. I like the challenges of being able to say, hey, go over here and do this. I think this is a pretty good pacing here. Find the source of the mysterious signal on the surface of Tylo. That's 10,000 science. All right, sweet. So once we get to Eve's sphere of influence, we'll get this 3,000 plus all the science that's going with Eve as well. And then we could take a look at maybe, is it just an atmospheric thing or no, we have to actually land on Lathe for this. This is a strange creature. Yeah. Okay, cool. And there's Second Dibs, Gold Edition, which the flag on pull. All right, sweet. We now have 11,000 science. So we're gonna go deep space probes. We're gonna go radiation science and orbital science. This gives us a lot more experiments. And that's really what I was about. I wanted to get a lot more experiments. We can also get deep space methalox. This gives us a whole bunch of different engines that have really high specific impulse in certain situations. So the LV-1000, this has a 375, 382, 385. Very nice. So bigger the better, I guess, is what we're seeing here. I think the next thing I want here for this is going to be enlarged power systems. I want to be able to get access to these big Gigantor solar panels. This also introduces us now to getting fuel cells, which is kind of interesting. And then also the Z 1K rechargeable battery, which I'm not really going to use this one. In fact, I think I want the big boy battery right here. I think I'd rather have this. Long range generation also gets us in with RTGs, which we're not going to use right now. And that also gives us these two dishes, which is these are kind of interesting too. They have the 130, I'm trying to expand the thing, 130 gigameter range, which is fantastic. It'll cover at the entire system. One of these though has a 66% more transmission rate, and takes double the power to do that though. But this one's deployable, this one's not. So we could have this one hidden if we wanted to. So we're gonna take this system here. If 3,200 left. I want to make sure I get this before I stop though. I want to get enhanced coupling, which doesn't really do anything for me for this trip, for this craft, but this one does. Tiny and large docking. I want to get the really tiny ports, and I want to get the big Clampotron seniors. I'd like to get these as well if I could. So we're going to get both of those. Now we have 2548 remaining. And it's at this point where we can probably look to just go ahead and, well, I'm looking for monopropellant stuff too. So this is, these are thrusters for monopropellant, and I'm thinking like I might need some of these. I don't know about this one specifically, but I might need some of these too. We also do xenon eventually. We don't need it right now. Yeah, you know, the monopropellant thing is interesting. Like I want to be able to have thrusters and stuff that can move things around. And I don't see those here, so it might be this. The sustainer engine, radial mounted sustainer engine. Is it these? I'm looking for the ones that basically shoot in all directions so we can like dock to things. I'm not entirely sure which one those are, because I don't really see the parts I'm familiar with, but it's been a while. Maybe it's in these. Yeah, we probably should get monopropellant drive anyway, just to get the tanks. Might want to get these trusses and stuff too, but let's go in and get long range generation while we're here. Yeah. So I can get that 4K battery. I like it. All right, so we're going to do this, and let's go back to the VAB. So this is going to take a little bit of time to design. So I might skip you guys ahead in some parts here, but we're going to go to command. I'm going to start with the cupola. No, sorry, not cupola. I'm going to start with the sightseer. This has like, well, big windows and stuff up there so they can all see things. There's even crew lights inside. This can hold only one Kerbal. And then attached to this, we're going to have our new Skylab or Starlab. There's like 3 different like little antenna things sticking out of it too. That's interesting. Wonder what that's going to look like. It's probably this part right here. Maybe this opens. I don't know. I'm just trying to look at the side, and it looks like maybe that would be this side. I don't know. Well, either way, I can't do anything with it here. So we have our Starlab here. And what we're going to want to do with this is we're going to want to attach it. And I don't know how Kerbal Space Program 2 is going to handle crew moving through things, but I'm going to assume it's the same system. So what I mean by that is, if I go to, is it utility? Maybe it's in structures, maybe adapters, and never, yeah, hub is what I'm looking for. Okay, I was kind of hoping we had a bigger hub, but this is like a hub, right? It's like the central piece where Kerbals can move around inside, right? They can kind of move through the station and everything. And this is kind of where we would put that right here. You know, there's like a way in, a docking port hatch right there, right? We put this right there, right? But because of the fact that we don't have the bigger one, and this is only the smaller one, because of that, I think I want to use adapters. And I think once you use adapters, you can't have Kerbals moving through there like that. It's okay. We're just going to like EVA them and have them move anyway. I think that's probably fine. For now, that's fine. So we're going to go in and probably do this one. And we'll mount it like that. We need to create some separation because on the sides here, we're going to have to use even more of these little things. So on the sides here, what we're going to do is we're going to do an adapter there, an adapter on that side, an adapter on that side, adapter underneath, and adapter on this side. If I can get it to do it right there. So now we have the bigger one. I mean, we kind of made our own bigger one, right? And there we go. And then on this part, we're going to put on the docking port seniors right here. Oh, you're not going to just snap to it? Really? There you go. Yeah, there you go. Now you got to make sure that the correct side is facing outwards. So this is the wrong side. So it's got to be this side. You want the side that looks like it's got like the steel ring part, right, to actually dock to. So if you see this side, that's the wrong side. The dark side goes against your own craft. Okay. So we're just going to have these like this. And I really don't know if this is going to allow crew to transfer through them because of the adapters and stuff. I don't know, but what this is going to do is it's going to let us expand our station in the future. We can bring things over to this thing and dock, you know, new modules, new science modules, new fuel tanks, new whatever, right? We can dock it with these, this little area here. Okay, next, let's talk about power. We have the new big batteries, and part of me actually thinks maybe we can put the batteries on the sides here, and we could say that two of these sides, let's say like this, these two sides are not going to allow crew transfer anyway, because we're going to place the batteries here instead. So we'll have these two big batteries and then the docking ports attached to the batteries. You might think, well, why do you need docking ports attached to the batteries? You know, what are you going to dock there? I'm thinking fuel tanks, you know, slap a fuel tank on this side. On this side, we don't need crew transfer there anyway. Now we have extra power. So I'm just thinking ahead on that. Next, let's talk about generation. And we're going to use the new Gigantor panels. And I'm not sure if there's a good spot for these. I was kind of thinking of up here, but I also don't want to get in the way of the cupola, though. That looks pretty cool, I guess. It will block some of the visibility there once it expands. So maybe we put it down like here instead. Or we could slip it into this little gap between them. But then the problem is, I think anyway, is that if I was to rotate it, now we're going to have it clipping in, and we don't want that clipping. Well, I could also do one of these. Why don't we get a little truss segment here? Where's that going to be? Is it utilities? I got to figure out where everything is, man. Oh, these RCS thruster blocks. That's what I was looking for before. Yeah, cool. We already have them then. I'm looking for... It's got to be structures, right? Where's all the little pieces? Not the beams, not the panels. Well, goodness, I don't know where they are. Did I not unlock them? Maybe they're not unlocked. Huh? I have 168 science. Is it this? I think I want these. Micro construction too. I think I want these two things. All right, let's see if I can find them now. I'm looking for structures. There they are. Okay. So I'm looking for like something real small. Like what if we did... Oh, this little attachment hub is interesting. I was looking for something structural like this, but now I'm thinking that one right there looks even better. Kind of like this one more. If I put that like right here, on the side. Something like that. Can I get 2 of them or no? It doesn't look like symmetry is going to work with these parts. Yeah, symmetry doesn't work with this being radially attached like that. Oh, it doesn't radially attach. That's why. All right, so I want one of these little ones then. Something like that just kind of like kicks it out so that when this connects to it, we can see that it won't clip, right? It's not going to clip with the window anymore. Good. That's what I wanted. All right, so we can put these, I think, straight up. Vertically is good here. Yeah. For takeoff and everything, we should probably have them facing this way. And then we can bring them back in. And then that will be how our solar panels are as we go up. And that's just enough too, isn't it? Why don't we take some struts just to help this? I'm going to strut this on that side and this side. I know this is adding extra parts, but I'm also kind of stress testing the game that way. So we're just going to make that really rigid so it doesn't come off, which I think looks pretty realistic. You would want something reinforcing that anyway. That is your power supply after all. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. We got the batteries extending on that side there, and we'll be able to target these when we dock to them and everything, and it's all A-okay. Next, I think I want my probe, right? And this is going to be how this is in space. So we don't want anything else attached to this. Once this is in space, just like this, that's it. So in order to maneuver this, we're going to need a probe that acts as, you know, our stage that's pushing this around. But then we're going to detach that stage and leave. So I'm actually thinking maybe we want a smaller docking port on the bottom here. I think a smaller docking port is better for this side anyway. So why don't we get, do we get another hub or? There was a tube as well. I think I remember seeing like adjustable tubes. Yeah, structural fuselage maybe is another thing to look at here. Maybe it's a little bit tall, and the adjustable tube I think will allow me to make it even smaller. Or we could just go with trusses. I think the tube is what I'm looking for though. Yeah, something like this, and then I can adjust how high I want that. So maybe we can go something like this. Let's say 1/2 meter in length. About like that. That's pretty good. It's going to create a structural weakness, but once we decouple, the struts and stuff will go with it, and it won't be a big deal. We're going to add communications to this really quick. That's going to be this Communitron 8888, just because it's very small, and we can actually get it to be about like that. I think it'd be pretty good. Let's go ahead and extend that. Looks pretty good. We're going to get this communication dish. It's going to help this station serve as a relay because I need to drop that probe down onto the surface of Eve. And I'm hoping, I haven't had a whole lot of time to play around with the communication system in Kerbal Space Program 2, but if it's anything like 1 and what we were playing before, this station should serve as a relay to Kerbin because of its powerful dish, and all I really need to do for the probe is reach this station, and I don't necessarily have to reach all the way to Kerbin. So the probe that we're going to use to the surface doesn't need to have a really powerful antenna. That's what I'm hoping is anyway. All right, so on the top of this, I think this is where we're going to mount this. On the top of this, what I want to do is we're going to add, let's add a, I need a stack. I think I want a stack separator here. I think that looks really good. Stack separator right here. I could go down to a smaller one, but I actually have a plan for this wider section here. We're going to go to heat, and then we're going to grab the heat shield and immediately pop a heat shield right there, facing this direction. Okay. Then we're going to add the probably another decoupler, I'm thinking. No, I need a structure here. We're going to go like this. Yeah, like that. So everything's going to pile on here. And I probably should do here is flip this over and design this thing separately so that we can kind of see how it's going to be, right? I think that's what we'll do instead. So here's the heat shield. And then we got this adapter. This adapter is going to go with that. And I may actually decide to put a battery in underneath this. I thought about doing a rover instead here. But I think with the way this is designed, with everything the way it is, and not wanting to have the radial decoupler little bits kind of sticking back and staying on the station forever, I think I'm just going to be comfortable with this. I think I'll be happy with this. Besides, if we land in like the middle of a biome or something, it's not like I would have actually taken that rover and drove to another biome. I wasn't actually going to do that. So I think this will be fine the way it is. Let's grab batteries. We're going to go to a small battery. I don't want it there. I want it down here. All right. Tell you what, we'll do this and then this. No, I want this to be here. There we go. Now it works. Okay. So the battery will go here. Then there's the probe. On the other side of the probe, we are going to put the radiation survey. I don't know if I should do this yet though. We put that right there like that. I mean, I think it looks, the part looks awesome. I think this is where I want it. Yeah, we'll need solar to keep this thing powered. We do have a little battery, but we will need some solar to keep it powered. So that part's going to be difficult once we land on Eve, because most likely this thing, I mean, it's possible this thing ends up straight up, but I want some flexibility, and none of these solar panels, like I guess we could use these, but if we use these, then we'll have to expand them after we go into atmosphere because they are not retractable. I can't take them back. So I'm thinking I might just, like, I'd have to keep them on the craft and not extend them. And if I go to one of the ones that can collapse, then the boxes end up being really big. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they're okay. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it's okay. I think we'll keep it like this. Why not? Okay. So that'll be that. So on the bottom of this, we want to have fuel tanks that fit this, this size. And I don't have any. I don't have any fuel tanks that fit this size. They just don't exist, man. I could do this. We got this. This single tank could be used to lower us down into position. But I have an idea that I think will be interesting to look at. If it maybe is not effective, but I think it'll be interesting. I'm going to take instead a whole bunch of these monopropellant tanks. I think 3 will be enough, actually. Then we're going to come over to the engines, and I'm going to use this monopropellant engine. And we're going to use 2 of these because they're actually quite big. So we're going to use 2 of these and put them about like, say, this. I kind of want the nozzles to meet right up against the bottom of this. It's right about here. I think will work pretty well. And you know what? We've got these little things here. That might interfere with that might interfere with everything. So let's maybe turn it like this. Or I could always rotate this part instead, which might be a better fit because orienting with engines all kind of like on the same plane here. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to matter with how I'm steering it, but I think I'd rather do that. I'm just going to rotate this part instead. Yeah. The important thing is that it's just aesthetics. It doesn't matter. So the unimportant thing that I'm still aiming for is that these things here are able to see straight down and they're able to, to take readings or whatever the heck they're doing straight down instead of being near the engines. And then the final thing to do here is to come over to landing, and we're going to use these small landing legs. And we're going to take 4 of them and probably go about here and see how long they are. Seems pretty good, but I think it can be better. Let's maneuver them to where they're about here instead. Yeah, there we go. And then we're going to want these to be somewhat stiff. So let's take auto suspension away. We're going to bring really good spring strength. And that's going to be how we land. I think that's going to work really well. Okay, So let's go ahead and bring these legs in. Now, how does this work, right? Well, we're going to be facing retrograde when we go into the atmosphere of Eve, which means we're going to be facing this direction. And that just happens to be the direction that the heat shield is on. I'm going to just give it a bunch of ablator. It's fine. Right. So that happens to be the side that the heat shield is facing. So this probe will enter facing prograde. Now, I don't know if that's going to work. It's typically your engines and stuff that makes everything heavier and your craft wants to point heavy side forward. But what I'm hoping happens here is if I load this thing up with a bunch of ablator, it'll make it really, really heavy. That's 0.2 tons. The engines that I'm using, each of these engines is 0.09 tons. And then there's the fuel tank. So this side is still a little bit heavier than this side. But I'm hoping that this kind of evens out and there's like equal weight on both sides. What I want to do after this, though, is as soon as it's clear that Eve's atmosphere is not going to harm us and it's clear that we're down to speed and everything's good, I then want to decouple this thing and get it out of the way. So we're going to go into one of these like this. So we're going to go about like this. And that's going to leave us with the top section of this probe looking like this when we're done. And you know what? I don't like that. I'm going to change it. I'm going to bring the battery underneath. But then I have this. Can I color this? Can I change the color of this? Color manager. Let's try this color manager thing. Assembly. I want this part. Ooh, the base. Ooh, I can change the assemblies. Okay, so that's the accent. Gotcha. Okay, so if I was to change the colors of all this, try to bring it to be. No, I don't want the. I just want the single part. Yeah, right here. This part. Yeah, there we go. I want the part to look like the rest of it. That's what I'm going for here. So if I can get something a little bit better than this, let's say, how about we, you know, like it just has to look like it belongs. I think that kind of does. There's like a sort of an orange, kind of bronzish looking thing going on with some of the parts here. So maybe we do something like that. It kind of looks like it fits anyway, you know? I like that better. And then the solar panels can still slap to the side, but we could change the solar panels to have a very similar look to them too. We can have this kind of go back into that gold look and, you know, make it to where it looks like it belongs. You know, there we go. Everything's kind of yellow here. And then you can go back to being where you were before. Yep, kind of like that. I think that's fine. I'm all right with that. Okay. So with this part, we're now going to take the solar panel, which I need to have this be the assembly anchor. There we go. I need this part. Since we're going to be facing forward, that's where the solar panel is. Once we're done, we decouple this. So the last little bit of this is the parachutes, right? Eve's atmosphere is very dense. And I think if we just have 2 drogue chutes on this, I think that'll be enough. If nothing else, it's enough to slow us down so that the monopropellant can land us. And that's it. So that's what I'm looking for. I wanted a little bit of extra fuel in an engine just so I'd be able to move around, deorbit, all those types of things. And I think that is gonna, I think that's gonna be great here, the way we're doing it. Yeah, can I get, yeah, delta V reading. I want something. All right, 454 meters per second. That's pretty good. I'm fine with that because it means that this thing can deorbit itself. So if we decouple this in space for some reason, this thing can still decouple itself, or it can deorbit itself. All right, I like it. So let's go ahead and place this. It's parachutes, solar panels, communications. Hang on, communications. So I think I'm going to use this static antenna as sort of our fail-safe approach here. In that, I can't just get it to show up. There we go. We'll use one of these antenna's here. I'm calling it like a failsafe, but it's not really that. It's that these antennas don't break in the atmosphere. So at least I have some communications as I go down in the atmosphere. And then if we land successfully, if we're all very good on our landing, then we can go ahead and use this one as well. And that will just add to our transmission speed. It doesn't make it to where we can go anymore. That's probably fine. Yeah, I think that's probably fine. It doesn't have the gold look anymore, but I don't care. Yeah, that's fine. Oh my God, there's a lot of stuff going on above my head right now. All right, I'm gonna take this and go ahead and flip it over and put it there. So this ends up being the craft, right? This ends up being what we're taking to orbit. We need to get out into space with this. All right, so the next step is to get ourselves sort of a launch vehicle that'll let us do this. And I'm kind of thinking right now, the way this is designed, that I kind of don't want the small part to be down here. I'm thinking I'm gonna flip these. Yeah, I'm gonna flip these to where the tube is on this side, I think. Oops. We're gonna need to. Wow. Okay, this thing is not cooperating at all. Get out of here and grab the tube. Yep. And the tube needs to go. Do I need to do something different with the tube, or maybe it needs to go that way? Yeah, I need to make this. It's 0.5 meters. No, it's fine. Yeah, we just. It's kind of a weird thing. It's not matching up perfectly anymore. Maybe it never did. Maybe I just didn't know it, but it never did in the first place. Let's bring the length a little bit longer. No, that doesn't seem to matter. Okay. I'm going to need to put a tube there because I don't want it to be, well, maybe it's okay to be way back in there like that. I kind of want it to be sticking out past this so that if there's anything docked here that's, particularly long for any reason, we don't have, I don't have to hit it. So like, let's say I'm docking a ship and the ship I'm docking here happens to be this wide. I don't want there to be any chance of it hitting the sides right here. So I want it to kind of, face outwards. All right, so I swapped it out. I think it looks a lot better now. We can get 2 crafts on the sides there like that, which is good. And to prevent this from having some structural weakness as we ascend out of atmosphere, I've also got struts kind of keeping in place from here to here. Just trying to provide a little extra structural integrity there. I'm not sure that helps, but I figured it can't hurt, so I put some struts there. All right, so the next step is to figure out how we're going to get this stuff to Eve in the first place. So for that, we're going to go to coupling. We're going to grab the medium decoupler, slap that on there. And then remember, we want the station to be like this in orbit, okay? We're looking for this. So we don't want the tanks, the engine, all that stuff. We don't want that stuff to be here when it's orbiting, all right? So because of that, we need this to get out of the way. But we also want this to be circularized, which means we need to be able to influence and control it with an engine to get it into position. Then we can decouple, but if we decouple it, then that stage will be junk. It'll just be floating around, and it'll be floating around at the same altitude we are. We don't want any of that to be happening. So we're going to need to be able to control this part here so that we can pull it away and deorbit it. So we're going to go ahead back to control. We've got the medium probe core now. Allows us to control this. This will be a probe core that we can control now. And we're then going to go, I think just to give myself a little extra, I'm going to grab the reaction wheel system down here too. Just a little extra. Well, actually, no, wait. Does this have one built into it? You have a 5 kilonewton reaction wheel in you. I think that's fine. So we're going to put that back down. All right. Next, we're going to find the fueled adapter. This is a fuel tank that serves as an adapter. Pop right there. Okay, good. Now we're going up to the large engines. We just unlocked those, so we might as well use them. Now, we only have the little fuel tank for this, the shorter tanks. But I think that's fine for this stage. This stage is already in space, right? So we don't need to burn super fast or anything. The only engine we have for this situation is the Rhino. and the Rhino has a 325-second ISP. That's not bad for the vacuum. That's not bad. And this stage right here has 3,795 meters per second of delta V, which I think is a phenomenal amount of control. This thing could complete our Kerbin orbit for us. So everything below this could then go and deorbit in Kerbin. We could have this thing complete our Kerbin orbit and then have it do the transfer to Eve and then also propulsively get ourselves captured without needing the atmosphere. If we wanted to do all of those things, we could do it with this engine and all of that fuel. So I like that idea. Let's go with it. We're gonna go with the large decoupler on this side, and then we're gonna need a couple more engines or a couple more tanks here. So probably about there. And then we're going to put the Rhino on there again. And now we have 6,100, almost 6,200 meters per second. The thrust to weight ratio on the bottom stage here is pretty bad. It's 0.87. So, of course, we're going to use boosters. Because as we get up higher in the atmosphere, I think this thing will let us know that, right? So, atmosphere. And we have a 0.76, actually. And if we go up, yeah, so we will always and forever have a 0.87. So that's not good, actually. Maybe we remove one of these tanks. Let's see what that does for us. That gets us to a 0.95. So still no good, because we want to be able to, accelerate as we go out of the atmosphere here. And apparently, yeah, this thing has a 109 in atmosphere. Now it's saying 109, that's fine. So if we can get above, let's say 9,000 meters, then we'll have positive. That's fine. Okay, that'll work. So this is what we're looking for then, is this stage right here. This is 56.35. So on the side, go ahead and get decoupling again. On the side, we're going to grab these. And I'm thinking we grab like 4. I think 4 of them would be fine. We're going to use maybe we don't even need 4, to be honest, but we're going to use my new boosters, my Clydesdales. Oh my gosh. I don't think we need this many. This is way more than we'd ever need. This is extremely over-engineered for glory. The thrust to weight ratio on this stage is 182. That's not actually all that strong. It's not that bad. But this is only the boosters. We're not using this at all in that situation. And I kind of do... I don't want to have this many boosters. I don't think it's necessary. Let's go down to 2. I know, heresy. So, gun into 2. About like that should work. These have a 149 all by themselves. I think that'll be fine. Next, for aerodynamics, we don't really have a whole lot for nose cones or anything like that. However, what we could do is go up to our fuel tanks, and we could use these ones here. I thought I had, yeah, this one right here. We could use these. Now, these are structural if we empty them, but we have an opportunity actually here to try out what fuel lines are all about, okay? Because these are sitting on the boosters. And if we want to use this fuel supply, we can totally do that with this engine down here. So what we're going to do here as an attempt to use our fuel lines is we're going to stick a fuel line from here and connect it to this stage down here. All right. Now that's going to allow us to pull fuel out of this first. We can have the fuel drained out of these 2 tanks first before we get this. It gives us a little extra distance on that stage right there. All right. So I think we're going to run with that. And then at the final part up this at the top, we can go ahead and honestly, I think maybe we might be okay with, I'm trying to find, I can't, for some reason, I just having a hard time finding things today. We could do more tanks like this, or I could just put a nose cone on them, which I'm thinking maybe we just put the nose cone on them. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. So, I mean, this is more than enough to get where we need to go. Pretty sure. We use the boosters first. They got a 149, 1.44 meters per second. Make sure that's atmosphere. Yeah. 129. Okay, that's no big deal. So 1.29 meters per second by themselves. Okay. We want to fire this engine at the same time. Get rid of that. So we can have both of these things going at once. And that's going to be more than enough. this engine is going to pull from these 2 tanks first, so that when we decouple these and get rid of them, they'll be empty anyway. Cool. Next, let's look at aerodynamics. And for that, pretty standard approach here. We're just going to put the wings on there, and I think that's good enough. Control surfaces are fine there. Should we test this out? I think I'm ready to test it. I can probably go ahead and have those 2 combined. And then this decouples. When it does, we need to make sure, of course, we have additional fuel in this so we can deorbit it, and then everything's good there. At the top part here, up here, I don't know what this stage does. This one is this. I guess that's the monopropellant engines. That's interesting. Okay, well, we'll have to... Let's go ahead and reverse that, just so I don't accidentally do it. But and then we definitely don't want these 2 things to be at the same time, so we're going to upgrade that. Okay, this is Eve Station. I'm going to go ahead and just save that. Actually, I know this is probably a little bit jarring. Before we take off with that rocket, I remembered I want to make sure that this thing is safe first. And that requires me to kind of go around JOOL for a bit. And that also, we need everything to be lined up correctly as well. We already got the one from the JOOL Northern Tropic. Because we only have one of these experiments, I can only run one of those biomes at a time, which is why I had to kind of go around multiple times to get that. The current one I'm running, though, is on the equator here. And so this is the wrong biome, but as soon as it switches over, we're going to be able to run again the other biome that we had right here, this equator one. And now I have 1:26 left in this. And as I go around JOOL, I can get this atmospheric survey as well and transmit that. So that's even more science. Maybe we could even add something cool to the Eve craft even from there. I don't know. I do need to be careful about this thing burning up, but it's not a total loss. If it does burn up, I don't think it will. But if it does, we've already transmitted so much science from this thing, I don't care. The other thing I wanted to show you, because we're on our way up right now, so I don't think it's going to matter. Yeah, this is going to take a couple of passes because it... Yeah. We're gonna leave the atmosphere soon, and then this will have to run again. So probably 2 more passes before that's possible to do, I think. But our apoapsis is being brought in pretty slowly at this point, so I've got many more passes to go. I just wanted to show you there are targets on Lathe. There's a target right there on Lathe. I know it's hard to see with everything being small, but you can kind of see it there. There's a target on Lathe for the creatures. And then also if I go to Tylo, there's another target on Tylo as well. So we can go over to Tylo, and that's the main quest, if you will. But I'm going to keep going around here to try to get this science first, and then we'll take off for Eve, because it does matter. If we zoom out, we need to have Eve be in the proper position to Kerbin. And I think right about now it is actually getting there. Eve and Kerbin is right here. So I think it's getting very close to being there. And so we'll probably go back after this pass. I think I'll probably go ahead and launch that since I have time to do it. It takes many days for this craft to fully orbit JOOL. So I think we're pretty much at the point now where I can do it. But I just wanted to show you that I can run the other experiment in that other biome and claim that science as well. So I'll be doing that too.